Door knocking versus cold calling. If the two of those were to get into a fight, which one would win? Well, I get asked that question all the time. Brendan, should I cold call? Should I focus on door knocking? And again, it depends. So my name's Brendan Bardick with Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching. I'm gonna give you my experience. We're gonna talk about the pros and cons, and I'm gonna tie this up at the end and let you know in a heavyweight bout, which one would really prevail, right? And we're gonna talk about that. So let's start out with door knocking. Now, with door knocking, we know that there's pros and cons, okay? The biggest pro about door knocking is you get to be your personal advertisement and billboard, and you get to go and meet with people in person. And when you meet with people in person, they have a higher likelihood not to reject you, because when they see your face, they see your emotion, they see how you're dressed, they see your presentation, they see the hard work and effort you're putting into this. A lot of times they're going to feel empathy for you, and with that, they'll be more likely to have a conversation with you. Now, door knocking, again, the drawback is time. You only have a certain amount of hours in the day, and you can only cover a certain amount of distance with door knocking. The other major challenge with door knocking is the weather. Right now, where I am, there's a blizzard outside. So if my main strategy was door knocking, it would be challenging for me to go do that. Not that you couldn't, I mean, I'm sure it's a possibility, but maybe the weather and time of year might have restrictions on how effectively I can do that system. So that could be a concern. And then the pro of door knocking is that, especially if you are, let's say, not as smooth with your scripts, dialogues, and all of these things, that you might just be able to charm people in person. You know, if everyone said, hey, I really expected you to be different until I met you in person, maybe you do have a secret power that you need to have, and it's better used in person. And then the last con of door knocking that I think about is safety. I get very nervous with door knocking because as you go to somebody's door, you don't know what's going on, what's happening, what they could be in the middle of, and that can be a little bit scary. So make sure you're thinking about safety. Do people know where you're at? If you're going door to door and somebody just happens to invite you in, you know, are you safe in that situation? So I think of security. So let's move on to cold calling. With cold calling, we'll talk about the pros and the cons. The pro with cold calling is you can touch a lot more people in a lot faster, more systematic way because you don't have to go and drive around. Duh, right? That makes it a lot easier. The con is they might not answer. Well, I guess that's a door knocking con too. But when they do, they don't get to see you, feel you, understand you, any of that, and they could possibly be quicker to reject you. So you may have to do a lot more for your conversion, especially in the beginning, until you have your scripts, dialogues, and you practice enough to really get your foot in the door. Then the other pro for phone calls is that we can leverage certain technologies to make it even more successful. And what I mean by that, and the reason I paused there, is I was just trying to think about everything I'm gonna tell you here. You of course have to abide by all your local rules, your do not call list, everything that is a law in your area. But we know that there are technologies out there where you can do what's called easy text, and you can utilize the phone to send a pre-messaged text directly to hundreds or even at times thousands of people to probe them for a certain response that you're looking for. So here's a sample text that I've seen that you could possibly think about texting. Hi, I had my business partner reach out to me and he has interest in buying your home for cash. Do you have any interest in selling? ? Imagine if you sent that out to 500 people in a neighborhood, would you get some responses? Then the next piece that you can leverage is the slide broadcast type technology where you're gonna bypass the call and go directly to their voicemail and leave a voicemail message going, hey, sorry that I missed you, but whatever your message is going to be. And we have a whole nother episode on scripts, dialogues. We have role play every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday with our organization where the whole nation it comes and joins us. That's from 12 to 12:30. For information on that, go to Brendan Bardick Real Estate Coaching to check that out. But you got to practice what you're going to be saying and what you're going to be putting out. So there's different leverage pieces with the phone that the door does not have when it comes to spread. Now, the con for the phone is the do not call list. So you have a limited amount of people that you're allowed to contact, and that can really limit in a certain neighborhood how many people you can be in conversations with. So that's a big problem. And with technology changing and getting smarter, phones are adapting to say spam or scam or whatever it is. So just think in 10 years, will you be able to even call somebody on the phone? So maybe that's something to start thinking about as we move forward. And what I mean is call a non-warm person and try to solicit business from them or talk to them about an offering that you have. I know large companies that have huge call centers that do this for you, that have tested all the laws and regulations, and there's always ins and outs to all of this, because when I say that word soliciting business, if you're calling someone to let them know that you just listed a home in their neighborhood, are you soliciting business from them? Think about that. That's a little tidbit. There's plenty of videos on this that talk about this process, but those are the big pieces. Now, looking at it as a whole, right? So you've got door knocking, cons of having to go spend more time, weather, all of this. Calls, you're limited on who you can maybe reach out to, all of that. In my experience, and I can only tell you my experience and the experience of all the agents I've coached across the country, cold calling or utilizing the phone would win every time as a standalone strategy. And the reason is because, again, leverage. That word leverage is so critical for your real estate profession. If you're not highly leveraged, then you can only do so much. So think about how many doors could you possibly reach in one morning, and then you have to go on appointments in the afternoon. You have to drive, you have to spend your gas, you have to be doing all of this. You have to worry about wear and tear on your vehicle, all of those things, where a phone call and utilizing this amazing tool. And when I say phone, again, so many different ways to do it. Straight up call, text, slide broadcast, or bypassing their phone to go straight to voicemail. What if you used all three of those in some sort of process synchronization, AKA a filter? Could that enhance your real estate business drastically? So ding ding, heavyweight contender from all of what I've looked at. And I'd love to get your comments on this. I know I'm gonna get people saying, I've had success with door knocking. I'm excited for you. I'm just saying it's very challenging to leverage door knocking to a massive business, or a business that's doing 40, 50, 100, 500 transactions a year. If you're starting out, it can definitely help you ramp up, use it as a piece of your business, but then start developing your lead funnel, which I've left in an entirely different video. Create a lead funnel so you're not having to do so much outbound prospecting and the business is coming to you. So check that other video out. Let me know your thoughts. Share this with someone that's thinking about door knocking or cold calling today. And as always, I wish you great success.